This is Hannibal from the HannibalTV.com with tons of UFC news for you, with information I've collected from the Wrestling Observer newsletter. Last weekend's show in Edmonton at Rogers Place drew 12,144 fans for a gate of 1,400,000. This was the second event held in Edmonton, with the first taking place in September 2017. This event had a lower crowd, which was not unexpected because the main event was strong, but the card was not a huge card at all. The preliminary fight between Giacomo Lemos and Tanner Boser was canceled due to Lemos testing positive for an unreleased substance. In the main event of the card, Max Holloway defeated Frankie Edgar with a unanimous decision win. Reportedly, it was a good fight, but not necessarily a great one. The biggest news coming out of the show was Cris Cyborg had the last fight of her UFC contract, taking on Felicia Spencer in the co-main event, which Cyborg won by decision, winning all 3 rounds. According to reports, Cyborg seemed to lack her killer instinct in this fight. It is unknown what she's going to do at this time, as previously reported. There's no pay-per-view numbers available from the event yet, but the Google searches were just over 500,000, which is not indicated of a strong event as far as public interest. Khabib appeared on the cover of Forbes, the Russian version of the magazine, which described him as the #1 Russian athlete in the world right now. Dana White held his 50th birthday party last weekend with Don Henley of the Eagles performing, as well as Gwen Stefani of No Doubt also taking the stage at the private party. After saying he wouldn't give BJ Penn another fight, White is now going to give Penn a fight either at the September 7th show in Abu Dhabi or the November 2nd show at Madison Square Garden. This is despite Penn's 7-loss win streak, which is the longest losing streak in UFC history, because most fighters would get cut long before a streak like that would go that long. But White says he's reconsidered allowing Penn to fight, despite saying he wouldn't in the past because of Penn constantly harassing him and texting him, saying that this would definitely be his last fight, win, lose, or draw in the UFC and MMA altogether, although White admitted there's nothing he could really do to prevent Penn from fighting for another organization later in the date, but he can guarantee he will never get another fight in UFC again. There has been some concern about Penn's health since he has taken more head strikes than any other fighter in UFC history. But White has responded to those reports saying, unless you're a doctor, your opinion doesn't matter. White has also discussed wanting to have Jon Jones fight Daniel Cormier, provided that Cormier beats Stipe Miocic on August 17th at that possible Madison Square Garden event with that main event. White says he saw the video of Jon Jones' strip club incident where he allegedly inappropriately grabbed a cocktail waitress, and he actually defended Jones over it, saying he hasn't talked to Jon, but I don't want to get into that whole thing, but I can tell you this, I saw some videos and Jon Jones will be fighting again. It's hard to give Jon Jones the benefit of the doubt until you see the videos, so I think Jon Jones is going to be fine. White also said that Corey Anderson, who had a run-in with Jones, challenged Jones at an autograph session this past week, will not get a title shot because, quote, Corey Anderson has turned down about 50 fights in the last month. No. Anderson was confirmed turning down a June fight with Alexander Gustafsson because his wife was due to have a baby at the time. And he also turned down a fight with Luke Rockhold. Two-time UFC heavyweight champion Cain Velasquez, coming off a loss to Francis Ngannou in the first round, is having his first ever pro wrestling match this coming weekend for the AAA Lucha Libre Wrestling Company out of Mexico. He says that this will not be his only pro wrestling match. Apparently it's in his new UFC contract that he can do pro wrestling on the side. He does have injuries according to reports, but he does want to fight in the UFC again before the end of the year. There could be a lot of pro wrestling opportunities for him if he turns out being good at it. He did also train with the WWE last year. Of course, Velasquez did get a knockout over Brock Lesnar in the first round a few years ago. It came out in the Chung Lee UFC lawsuit that besides UFC's pay and pay-per-view bonuses to Lesnar, he was also guaranteed $1,625,000 from the Death Clutch clothing brand for each title defense he had. And for the fights he had not as champion, he received a $700,000 bonus from the clothing brand. So he really cleaned up as far as making money in the UFC.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it and click the subscribe button to not miss any of our latest shoot interviews, match videos, or news updates. Support us on patreon.com for $1.99 a month to watch our full shoot interviews ad-free and help our channel grow. Follow us on Twitter at The Hannibal TV for instant updates.